Hi, this is Semach Yehuda Richter. I'm sitting with Nachum Lemkus. Nachum Lemkus lost his daughter Dalia. Here's a picture of Dalia roughly 8 years ago in a terrorist attack. And I only knew Nachum about 3 years ago. And I've been to his all the time that there was a time when there was the yearly remembrance, the yard site, I would come to his yard site and listen to him and the Rav speaking about Dalia. So I decided that in this particular year, this is the third year of his, of her, of the time I knew him, but this is 8 years ago since she was nifter. I wanted to make a video with Nachum so Nachum can explain to you exactly how he feels 8 years after the event. Okay, go.
Okay, I'm Nachum Lemkus. I'm a bereaved father of Dalia Lemkus, Dalia bat Nachum Zev. The picture that I've just shown you is a picture taken 3 weeks before she was killed at her brother's bar mitzvah. Let me tell you about Dalia. Dalia, in the 26 years of her life, accomplished more than you and me and all of us could ever imagine. Dalia died in a terrorist attack on Yud Zayin Mar Cheshvan 8 years ago. She was coming back from work from Kiryat Gat, and she got a ride from Tzomet Shimshon to the Gush, to Gush Etzion, was dropped outside the old entrance to Alon Shvut, crossed the road, and was run down by a terrorist who then got out the car and stabbed her to death. Multiple stabbings that she had no chance of survival at all. He then went on and tried to stab other people. 2 people were injured. One in his face, carries the scar till today. The other one was stabbed in his body. He spent 6 months in hospital trying to recover, lost all his money, and had to start from scratch again. But he's still here to tell the tale. There was only one person that was killed in that terrorist attack, and that was Dalia. Hashem Ekom Dama, may God revenge her death. Dalia, in all her life, was a girl that did chesed, 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 wherever she went. She believed that was the way to do things and handle things. And she made sure that what she did was the Shem Shamayim, and the Shem made things good for everybody else. Dalia, this was her second and final encounter with terrorist attacks, with terrorists. She, in a year of Yud Bet matriculation, before Purim, went with a friend to Yerushalayim to fetch material for the Purim spiel that was going to be in a school in Kiryat Arba. And on her way back, standing at Tzomat Gush, facing towards Hebron, the terrorist crossed the road, pulled out a knife, stabbed one person seriously. Dalia started to run away. He ran after her, managed to stab her lightly, but she survived. And thereafter, she went back with her mother and a friend and sat at Tzomat Gush and talked about it until they could finally continue. I, at the time of both terrorist attacks, was a member of Magen David Adom. And of course, when the second terrorist attack came, nobody said anything to me until they came to tell me. Now, unfortunately, I can understand, but unfortunately, I have to live with the consequences of this terrorist attack for the rest of my life, and the family also does. Dalia grew up, started her life in Gilo in Yerushalayim, and when we outgrew the house, we moved to Tukar. She grew up in the Gush, went to school in the Gush, was educated in the Gush, and did her high school at Upanat Kiryat Arba, the girls' school in Kiryat Arba. She was doing painting as a sideline, as a hobby, beautiful paintings over her mother's house. And goes to show just how talented and free life she was, because a lot of her drawings were of nature, of freedom, and what it meant to her. We, as a family, had 8 years of enjoyment, of nachas, of being with her and growing up with her and trying to guide her, even though she put herself through university. She studied occupational therapy, which is an occupation that deals with chesed in all its entirety. She made sure to make sure that everybody in her life had the same kind of chesed that she gave at the school. She made sure that people understood what the word meant, not to talk to people, not to talk about the people she was giving tipul to, and only in the teacher's room. She made sure that the school teachers, school kindergarten teachers, The principal and all the people in the school understood this. Do not talk in front of the children. Chesed number 1. She said, they understand. It just depends how much. Up to now, nobody took cognizance of it. From Dalia's case, they've now made it a klal, a law, to speak about children inside the teacher's rooms only, or to talk about the child in front of the parent only. The school that she worked for was in Kiryat Gat, a special needs kindergarten for Klal Yisrael, made by parents who lost their child in a tragic way, and the children then took on this idea to give the children education so that other people would realize what it's all about, what bringing up children is all about. And they opened up a garden called Lev Menachem in Kiryat Gat, which has now become the center of chesed, of education to special needs area, special needs in that area of Kiryat Gat and around. And my heart goes out to them just as much as my heart is broken over here. Dalia did a fair amount of babysitting when she was a kid, and even when she was an adult. And the parents could trust her and called her in at all times of day and night. There were many cases where parents called her in the middle of the night and said, we have to go to a hospital, one of us is sick, and I'll be back to deal with the kids in the morning and take them to school and take them to Gun. By the time the parents came back from the hospital in the morning, or at least one of them did, to take care of the kids, they found the kids ready for school. Hair brushed, teeth brushed, breakfast eaten. All they had to do was be taken to school. Now that's the kind of chesed that Dalia did. She then volunteered for Yad Sarah in the snif on Tekor. And she said, so many people are wanting so many things, but so many people can't come to the snif on Tekor to fetch it. Let me do the chesed the other way around. Let me take the equipment to these people's houses. And she did it. And she started doing it, and it's now become a major thing in Yad Sarah in Yerushalayim. I do not know about other areas. And I did the same job as Dalia did on Tekor. I did it in Yerushalayim until Yerushalayim became a big hole with the advancement of the light rail in Yerushalayim. And I can't stand in traffic jams for hours on end just to deliver things. I gave it up. That was my chesed in Dalia's name. Dalia made sure that everybody understood what it was all about. At the time of the murder, The shul was making a function hall for the Forticon, and that hall is named after Dalia today. It's called Ulam Simchat Dalia, and may we all learn to have the happiness that all of us have had from her, from this particular case. At Dalia's funeral, Michal's sister screamed out, Dalia, you were injured in a terrorist attack. How come you're still taking tramps? Dalia turned round to her and said, Me? Me, Dalia? I'm not letting the terrorists beat me. Because if the terrorists see that people have stopped taking trams, then they've won. We are not allowing that to happen. She continued to take tramping, hitchhiking, just so you know what I'm talking about. Wherever she went. She took a tramp to Kiryat Gat, generally with the same person. And that person left the Gush. Dali had to get to the Gush first and was brought back. She generally came back with the same person to the Gush and she got home. If she would have had to have taken a bus, it would have taken her 3 hours to go back to Tkon. From Kiryat Gat to Yerushalayim on the bus is an hour's ride, hour plus. From the central bus station to the hitchhiking station, the Trampiada, towards Tekoa, it's another 40 minutes ride. And then however long it took for there from the Trampiada in Har Choma to get to Tekoa, so that could be another 20 minutes at least. So we're talking about a very long time, and she decided she's going to take the shorter route. And that's what she did. Just to put you in the picture of what was going on at that time in the country. The country was undergoing terrorist attack after terrorist attack after terrorist attack. And it never ended. It never ended. It started off, it didn't start off, it continued. 4 months before Dalia was killed, the 3 boys from Kfar took a ride wanting to go back to the center of the country, to Tel Aviv area, to Modi'in. They were picked up by terrorists, killed on the spot. And we do not understand what that means. But at that time of the year, at that time, there was terrorist attack after terrorist attack. At that time of the year, at that time when the parents of the kidnapped children were looking for them, it was the greatest unity that there was in the country. We have never had a unity like that, or since then, in the country. So my aim in making one of the aims of making this video is to understand and making unity in the country, in the community. We must all learn from the idea that only when a person is together with other people is there unity. There cannot be unity on a one-person value. Unity means more than one. It means coming together. It means joining up. In the Nusach Sfad, in the Kudashah for Shabbat Musaf, there's a song, Yachad Yachad. That's what it's all about. Being together, understanding what it actually means. My idea that I've been put to make this a video is to help people understand what it actually means, what unity actually means. Sitting Shiva for Dalia, two young American boys came into the room. Sat down. They never said a word. And they just looked and they just listened. Eventually I turned round and I said to them, "Tell me who you are. I don't recognize you." And they said to me, "You're not supposed to recognize us. We came to Israel to have a good time. As we were getting on the plane, we heard about the terrorist attack and the loss of your daughter. And we said before we do anything, we came to you to be Menachem Abed. Now that is the unity that we are looking for. That is the achdut that we are looking for. Not many people knows what it means, but we try hard. It's not we're not very trying in doing everything that we do. Let's continue with this story. The week after Dalia was killed, there was a human chain from Kfar Zion to Tzomot HaGush by all the students of the area. They were taken out of school, and of course, B'Simcha. We made a human chain stretching a good 2 kilometers on either side of the road to show that unity is there, to show that we are running the situation and that we are still making unit between us. Not simple and not easy. That same morning, there was the unfortunate terrorist attack in Har-Nof, in the Beit Knesset, which at that time 5 people were killed, 4 Kiddushim, 5 Kiddushim, one of them being a Druze policeman, And a year later, the sixth person died as well. He lingered in hospital, unconscious for a year. And nobody can understand what that means either. But the unity in the community was there. That Tuesday morning, we heard about it, and on the Thursday, instead of tidying up my house after the yeshiva, I went to all four houses in Harnof to be mechazek, to be with him, and joined the mincha ketana le Yom Kippur, which I've never joined it, never had the opportunity to have. The Achdut, again, Achdut, 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 where you have the whole of Harnof coming into a Beit Knesset, saying slichot, fasting, shofar being blown. The Rav Reuben speaking. None of us knows what it means, and none of us should ever know what it means. As long as we are showing unity to the rest of the community, we should never fall down. And again, a year later, after the fifth person died, I was there. I went to be mechazek. That is the aim of this video, is to be mechazek, to be understanding that the video will inspire, or hopefully inspire people, that life does continue. We don't make things happen. And let me tell you what it means. There are 3 consecutive parshot in the Torah. Achrei Mot, Kedushim, Emor. And 3 of them have completely different ways. At least this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it in my way. The three parshiyot are very simple. Achrei Mot. What happened? Aaron's sons brought a korban zara. Kadosh Baruch Hu went out and he killed them. And Aaron wanted to do more than them, and he said, "No, you are Kohen Gadol. You don't do it." And Aaron's reply or action was, "Vayidom Aaron," meaning to say that this is God's will. We are not to question. We are not allowed to question why this particular person and not this person. Why? It is not even up for discussion. It's a call by a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Achrei Mot Kedushim. What do we do about Kedushim? Kedushim we take to understand that people are holy. But no, we talk about the dead person. What a wonderful person they were. And never, ever look at the bad sides of the person. Ever. We're not allowed to do that. Kiddushim means talk the good side of things. Talk about the good things that happen in somebody's life. And that's what it's all about. Sometimes they are good and sometimes they are bad. But we have to understand that this is an ongoing situation in this country, in the country of Israel. And the next parsha is Emor. It's not what, not why. We're not allowed to ask why this person. We're not allowed to do anything. We have to understand that we have to talk about the person. But Emor means we have to say what we are going to do in our children's or our family or our bereaved, as bereaved parents, bereaved families, what we are doing to make the memory of that person continue.